My name is Pim Mertens, Scientific Coordinator and Researcher at ITEM. Together with Martin Umfried, I've worked on this dossier on European cross-border impact assessment and cohesion policy for border regions. It is often said that border regions represent 40% of EU's territory, where a third of the EU population lives. While being located at the edge of a national border regions act as living labs of European integration. With cohesion policy and territorial cohesion, there is the aim to promote a balanced and harmonious territorial development at regional level. Yet figures show that border regions still are very much limited and hindered by administrative borders. For example, in the territory of the Benelux and Germany, regional GDP loss were found from 7 up to 18%. Negotiations about the future of territorial development will be held in the framework of the new political term at European level. More importantly, the cohesion policy as such will be subject of discussion in light of the policy post-2027. This dossier analysed the status quo in addressing the needs for border regions and what should be improved both in an ex-ante and in an ex-post manner. Addressing cross-border obstacles should be done both ex-ante and ex-post. Ex-ante specific cross-border impact assessments of new and amended policies and legislation help to prevent obstacles from emerging. Research showed that the territorial and cross-border dimension is often not addressed sufficiently. A proper impact assessment should be done with the involvement of as well as at multiple levels. This requires capacities to really assess the potential impacts. Initiatives such as RECAP of the Committee of the Regions are important in this respect. When it comes to ex-post policies, the cohesion policy did contribute in a positive way to the development of border regions in the EU, especially via the European Territorial Cooperation Package. Yet, the total budget amounts dedicated to cross-border territories specifically are very limited. Also, there could be a better focus on realizing stable cross-border networks in real cross-border areas. The cross-border dimension should furthermore be mainstream for other national and European programs as well.
My name is Susanne Sivonen. I'm a legal researcher at ITEM. Legal and administrative obstacles pose challenges for citizens, businesses, and institutions in cross-border regions. The European Commission estimates that removing just 20% of these obstacles could boost GDP by 2% and create over 1 million jobs in these regions. Despite these issues, there is currently no uniform procedure on the EU level to resolve such obstacles. In 2018, the Commission made an attempt to establish such procedure by the European Cross-Border Mechanism, but the proposal was blocked by the Member States. In the end of 2023, the Commission published an amended version for a regulation on facilitating cross-border solutions, proposing the establishment of cross-border coordination points, which would then collect and resolve border obstacles in the Member States. Together with our time partners in this research, we examined the cross-border effects of the proposed regulation across 4 different cross-border regions in Europe. This included case studies Benelux Germany, France Germany, Czech and Polish borderland, and the Austrian and Hungarian suburban region of Bratislava. The proposed regulation presents a transition from solving cross-border obstacles via a legal tool to facilitating solutions via a common governance structure. While the case studies presented significant differences in how far cross-border cooperation was structured and institutionalized, common for the case studies was the high number of cross-border obstacles experienced. In border regions that lack cooperation structures, the clear benefit of the regulation lies in its ability to establish, for the first time, a coordination point that collects and resolves obstacles. In border regions with existing structures, the regulation can strengthen the quality of cooperation by legitimizing and providing a permanent basis for these institutional frameworks. In the absence of a legislative tool in the regulation, these established structures and their legal instruments, like the toolbox of the Benelux Union, can also enhance the regulation's effectiveness in solving obstacles. Despite these clear positive effects, the regulation leaves significant discretion to the Member States regarding its implementation. It is completely up to the Member States' competent authorities to decide whether or not to resolve an obstacle. Given the differences in how far the Member States implement the coordination points and their willingness to resolve border obstacles, the effects of the regulation could differ between the Member States. The regulation is currently under the review of the European Parliament and the Council. It remains to be seen if and in which form the regulation will be adopted.
My name is Matt Noogman. I'm a senior researcher at the Institute for Euregional and Transnational Cross-Border Cooperation and Mobility at Maastricht University, and an emeritus professor at the Institute for Peace and Security of Coventry University in the UK. My main research subjects are cross-border cooperation, crime control, transnationalism, non-state actors and security. I investigated the 2018 Benelux Police Treaty. The treaty allows national police units to investigate and operate in each other's territories. The right to cross-border hot pursuit, cross-border arrests and information sharing are prominent in the border regions. An additional challenge is the envisaged tripartite cooperation between public prosecution offices, local authorities and the police. I investigated the treaty by analyzing and interpreting its text based on 1. Related parliamentary documents and comments, and 2. Interviews with key stakeholders, both policymakers and users. I looked into the phenomenon of cross-border hot pursuit and the concept of actual cross-border cooperation. Unfortunately, the treaty is not yet fully operational. Quite some executive decisions must still be taken. The variances in national regulation, law enforcement policies, policing, and organizational cultures will pose significant challenges to the envisaged cooperation. Training programs may tackle some of the hindrances, but it's crucial to ensure that cross-border policing is more than occasional gatherings. Effective cross-border law enforcement starts with genuine cross-border policing rather than cross-border police cooperation. Therefore, it's necessary to build actual cross-border police posts and centra, where police officers meet face-to-face on a day-to-day basis, hopefully to be joined one day by their colleagues from the public prosecution offices and local authorities.
My name is Margot Furlan, and I'm currently a trainee at the European Commission and a law student at Maastricht University. My team and I participated in an honors program called Premium, through which we conducted research for ITEM at Maastricht University. 6 months ago, the German government enacted the law to liberalize cannabis in Germany. My team and I were tasked with analyzing the potential impact of this law on the Rhin-Meuse region. We identify several key areas that could be affected by this regulation, particularly regarding the European integration, socioeconomic factors, and European cohesion. Our research focused on labor mobility, job creation, public health and safety, criminality, economic development, and tourism. The German Cannabis Act could influence labor mobility, public health, and cross-border dynamics. Although the regulation is restrictive and offers limited economic benefits, it could nevertheless stimulate job growth, both directly and indirectly, especially in sectors like investment, biotechnology, research and development, and private security. From a health perspective, Germany can learn from Canada, the US, and the Netherlands by focusing on education and harm reduction. Strict quality controls are essential to prevent health risks and reduce black market activity. Regarding crime, legalization may not eliminate illegal markets, but could reduce major criminal behaviors with minor public disruptions managed through careful policy. Public health concerns, especially for young people, remain significant. The German government can address these through targeted education and regulation to minimize addiction risks. Finally, tourism and cross-border business, particularly with the Netherlands, may be impacted. However, the long-term effects are uncertain, and enhanced international cooperation and monitoring will be key to managing legal, economic, and social outcomes effectively.
My name is Martin Ohnstreet and I'm a senior researcher at ITEM. I have developed with my colleagues our impact assessment methodology and have done research on many cases. I did research on possible cross-border effects of 3 EU legal acts that were recently adopted in the field of industrial policy. These are the Net Zero Industry Act, the European Critical Raw Material Act, and the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive. I investigated whether the territorial dimension of the legislation was taken into account. Do the legal acts constitute a special challenge for industries located in border regions or for industries that deal a lot with partners in a neighboring country? There are opportunities. Benelux countries plus Germany should, for instance, designate cross-border net zero acceleration valleys that are part of the net zero regulation. For raw materials, the Benelux could search for agreements on raw materials that are recycled by industry close by and give priority in licensing and access to financial instruments. And for the due diligence directive, Benelux countries should use the time until 2026 to coordinate the transposition and avoid different administrative rules.
Mijn naam is Sander Kramer en ik ben onderzoeker bij ITEM. 21 juni 2023 is het nieuwe belastingverdrag Nederland-België ondertekend. Momenteel heeft de parlementaire behandeling nog niet plaatsgevonden en is de concrete inwerkingstredingsdatum nog niet bekend. Vanwege wijzigingen in het verdrag kunnen echter zowel positieve als negatieve inkomens- en grenseffecten ontstaan. Op basis van de verdragstekst hebben mijn collega Bastian Didde en ik een ex-ante grenseffectenbeoordeling gemaakt van het nieuwe belastingverdrag voor een Nederlandse en Belgische grenswerker. Daarbij is ook oog geweest voor de toetsingsmaatstaf gelijkheid in de straat en gelijkheid op de werkvloer als indicatie voor het centrale thema Europese integratie. Inkomenseffecten bij de meeste bepalingen in het nieuwe verdrag blijven ongewijzigd, afgezien van eventuele wijzigingen in nationaal belastingrecht. Het grensknelpunt dat thuiswerkende grenswerkers ervaren, is de relatie met België nog niet opgepakt met het nieuwe verdrag. Verder zijn zowel het sporters- en artiestenartikel als ook de hoogleraarbepaling in het nieuwe verdrag geschrapt. Dit kan gunstig zijn wat betreft grenseffecten, maar dit kan inkomenstechnisch gevolgen hebben voor de betreffende belastingplichtigen. Het is echter opmerkelijk dat een van de meest besproken bepalingen in het verdrag, de pensioenbepaling, ongewijzigd is overgenomen in het nieuwe verdrag. Gezien de soortgelijke verdragstekst zijn niet direct inkomenseffecten te verwachten, maar dat onduidelijkheid rondom de toepassing van het artikel blijft, is niet onwaarschijnlijk. De compensatieregeling, bedoeld voor inwoners van Nederland die in België werken, is behouden. Deze regeling beoogt te komen tot gelijkheid met de buurman in de straat. Dit is positief, maar blijft de vraag in hoeverre sprake is van gelijkheid met de buurman in de spiegelbeeldsituatie. Dus een Belgische grensarbeider werkzaam in Nederland. Tot slot kunnen eventuele verdere grenseffecten pas worden vastgesteld bij het verschijnen van de artikelsgewijze toelichting op het nieuwe verdrag.